but not broken, with host Patrick Scroggins. As a U.S. Army attack helicopter pilot deployed in Iraq, Patrick faced a devastating crash, which resulted in him dying, losing a leg, and a slew of broken bones. Patrick's story of rehabilitation has helped others to overcome their own obstacles. Each week, Patrick recounts stories of inspiration and interviews guests who have overcome remarkable obstacles. This is Wounded But Not Broken, with your host, Patrick Scroggins.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wounded But Not Broken on this Monday night. Hope everybody had a good Monday and got through the day. It's the hardest day of the week for most people. And hope you're ready to listen to a great story that we have tonight. This story is very compelling, very powerful. This gentleman that I have online with me is, he's a hero in every aspect, just like every wounded veteran I've had on here. These guys are willing to sign that dotted line and do what so many others won't do. And, that's what makes our country special. That's what stands us apart from everybody else, is we have a full volunteer military, and these guys put themselves in harm's way. Guys and gals put themselves in harm's way to protect our freedoms and our way of life. And, however many times that gets encroached upon, it is right now in this current time, and it's sad, but you know what? I can always go to sleep at night knowing that there's gentlemen like I have on the line with me tonight defending our freedoms. And tonight I have Zach Stinson on the line, a.k.a. Nubs. And so, Zach, why don't you start in telling us your story, my man?
Oh, well, thank you for having me. So I'm Zach Stinson. I'm living in Pennsylvania currently. I live in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. I grew up here. Joined the Marine Corps right out of high school. So I graduated in 2007. And then from there, I was in boot camp like a month later. So July of 2007, graduated boot camp in October of 2007. Was security forces with as a secondary billet, with infantry being my primary. So I went through all the infantry schools and everything like that early on. And then eventually I picked my first duty station as Bangor, Washington. So we were guarding nukes up there, and I spent the first 2 years of my career up there, which was fine. Not my favorite place, but we made it work. Got through it, got to go to some cool schools while I was over there, and then eventually PCS'd from Washington and got transferred over to Lejeune. That was in April of 2010, and then was supposed to go to 3-9, and all my paperwork said 3-9, you're going to 3-9, and then for my final step of check-in, they actually changed me to go to 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines. So I went from deploying what I thought was going to be in January of 2011. Instead, I got bumped up, and we were going to relieve 3-6 in Marja, Afghanistan in July of 2010. So, my first field op with 2-9 was Mojave Viper. It's like pre-deployment, freaking workup and everything. But it worked out real well. I actually went advanced party to Afghanistan. I was a team leader whenever I got there. So I was in charge of 3 other guys. We patrolled Marja, Afghanistan for about a month, mainly doing census data, clearing the area, getting a lot of little firefights, kick-ups here and there. Nothing too crazy. We had a few IED attacks, honestly not too much. Our main threat when we were there was just getting shot. Because at that time in Afghanistan, 3-5 was getting lit up with IEDs. They were finding 3 or 4 IEDs a day, where we would just get shot at 3 or 4 times a day.
Right. Hey, so real quick on you know, when you got in that first firefight, I'm sure, you know, everybody remembers that first one. Can you describe it? Do you remember?
Oh yeah. We were actually RTB, returning to base, and walking through an open field, straddling. We're right next to a canal. Started getting shot at, and everybody just jumped in the canal, and we probably wasted 80% of our ammo shooting into the tree line. But it was a good welcome to country kind of thing. And then we got better and better as the time went. It was a little nerve-wracking. I think we were all kind of on edge on how we would actually respond, because everybody talks a big game, but until you're actually shot at, you don't know what you're actually going to do. It's that fight or flight thing. But no, everybody did well. We got back and then ended up, and then that was just the first of many, honestly. We got into some pretty crazy stuff. Closer to like whenever I got injured, we set up a VCP, and we're sitting there for like an hour. No vehicles come by the checkpoint, and then whenever we start to pick up, like it just they were everywhere. It seemed like we were just getting freaking hammered. We ended up kicking down a door, taking cover inside one of the compounds, and then fighting our way out of there. And then at least for all that we encountered in Afghanistan, as soon as you drop mortars and establish fire superiority, they would just break contact and just bounce.
Right.
And for that one, we did find, like, that was the one time we did find like actual firing positions. Like they didn't even have time to pick up their brass.
Yeah. So just to take it back a little bit. So when you were deciding to go in to serve the country, what caused you to join the Marine Corps, to be a Marine? What drew you to the Marine Corps?
I liked working out. That was really it. We had our local recruiter would get together once a week with all the Marine poolies, and we'd do a bunch of, like, we'd run, pull-ups, sit-ups, whatever. It was just basically a sleigh fest for hour and a half, 2 hours on Thursday nights. And I really enjoyed it. I got in tight with a lot of those guys. I liked the camaraderie and everything that the recruiter was saying. So I started doing that, I think I was a sophomore. And so after my junior year, I got into the delayed entry program and got my job and got my date and went through my senior year of high school and, graduated and went to boot camp.
Gotcha. Yeah, sorry to get off topic there. I was just curious. I like to ask all the different service members why they pick that particular branch of service. But, so, you know, in Afghanistan, what year was that when you went over there?
2010.
2010. Gotcha. So I'm sure that it was at that time it was pretty hot, right?
Oh yeah. Extremely busy. 3-6 had gone through. Well, 3-6 and 1-6 had gone through and cleared Marja. We had pushed through, and then we were in technically the build phase, or was it clear and hold build? But we still didn't have any of the census data, and we were still getting shot at constantly. So it didn't really feel like it was even cleared at that point. But we just kept doing our jobs, and we got tasked with figuring out the local populace, getting names, taking pictures, and just kind of trying to help where we could. And I thought we did a halfway decent job of it. I was there as a team leader for a month, and then my platoon sergeant, platoon commander came to me a month after we'd been there and told me they wanted to form 4 squads and that they wanted me to be tasked with the new squad, being the squad leader. So I said yes. I didn't know I could turn it down. I found out later that was an option. I wasn't their first choice. I was actually their second, but the first guy had actually turned it down. We called ourselves the Black Sheep because we were just thrown together in the middle of deployment. But we worked really well with each other, and I had a lot of good guys in that squad. So for 3 months.
What was your duty there? You were like route reconnaissance, or you were just patrolling, or what was your mission?
The main thing was we were trying to get census data and everything. I tried getting missions, like finding missions kind of thing, because personally I really hated contact patrols. I hated telling my guys, hey, our only mission is to just go get shot at, because it just seems I know it's an actual patrol, but it's not what I wanted to tell my guys after we had been there for so long, getting shot at all the time. So I liked actually coming up with, okay, we're going to go recon this area. We're going to go take pictures of whoever is in here. I'd find stuff to do, which, I mean, we were still pretty new there, so it wasn't that hard. And we still got shot at plenty of times from it. So, yeah, we did that for 3 months. And then on November 9th, 2010, we got shot at from a village that was probably about 1,500 meters from the PB. We'd always get shot at from it. We had it cleared for HIMARS, so we took contact. We dropped the HIMARS, and then we had to go do a BDA. And my squad was on QRF, so we got tasked with doing the BDA. So I took my guys, and we went over to the village, and there was a wall that ran north to south the entire length of the village. And, I stopped my point man probably, 20 yards before actually getting to that wall. And I jumped it first, and then I took a few more steps. I was probably 10 to 15 yards on the other side. And I still remember, I stepped down with my left leg, and it was just like a pogo stick, just boom, in the air. And then I landed, and all I could see were my hand. I was like in like a diamond push-up position, but and my helmet was kind of propping me up. I couldn't move, but so I could just look at my hands, and my ears were ringing, and dust is everywhere. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, I knew I got blown up. I just didn't know to the extent of how bad it was. I heard my guys came up. They ran up to the wall, and I don't know who it was. I heard one of them say, "He's dead," and I screamed back, "I'm not dead. I just can't move." They're like, "Oh crap!" So they jump over the wall. They get to me and start working on me, man. And they got to me and started taking care of me. I said a quick prayer, asked God for forgiveness, and I told my one team leader, I said, tell my wife I love her and I'm sorry I'm not going to make it home, because I thought I was dead. I didn't think coming home an amputee or anything less than whole was even an option. They started working on me. They called up the 9 line. I'm kind of just chilling. We get shot. We started taking contact again. So they picked me up and put me on the other side of the wall, and now they're returning fire. And this extends the medevac, because from what I understood, talking with people later, the medevac actually came without an escort initially, but whenever we started receiving contact, then I had to go back and pick up an escort and come back. So it was like a 45-minute wait to get me on the bird. And in that time, like, there was one time when everything went really, really white. I thought I was going to, like, white out, basically. It never actually happened. Everything went real white, and then all of a sudden just shot back to color. And then after that, I was just kind of chilling and trying not to freak out. Really just thought I was dead, and that's what waiting to die, honestly. So they got me taken care of with the best corpsman in the entire battalion. He was fantastic. He got me all wrapped up and got me on the bird. I never lost consciousness. And then from there, like I said, I'm still, the entire time I'm talking to people like, okay, what are the extent of the injuries? And I knew it was bad because no one would actually tell me that. Like, I'd ask them, like, do I have my legs? And they would just be like, oh, no, you're fine. So.
Zach, real quick, we'll touch on your injuries and we'll pick up there. But right now we're going to take a word from our sponsors and we'll be right back. So stay tuned to hear the rest of this story.
So put your weapon next to mine.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scroggin. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Come on over. What's not over?
My father was the best truck driver I've ever known in my life. Like a family tradition.
I'm a truck driver myself. I drove around the state with my cat.
To be the truck driver, you not just only see where you go, you see the world in the larger perspective.
This is a really good time to be in the trucking industry. The dispatchers get good loads for them. The equipment is very new, and then it's very reliable.
At GTS Transportation, we make dreams come true by employing truck drivers, dispatchers, mechanics, and many other occupations. Consider joining our rapidly expanding team where we put quality, human dignity, and respect back into the workforce. Contact us by visiting our website at gtscarrier.com or call us at 847-754-4667. That number again, 847-754-4667.
Dallas Corporation and Dallas Logistics, a proud supporter of the Veterans Broadcast Network for over 19 years. High-quality printing services and warehouse distribution has been our hallmark since 1985, serving Fortune 100 companies for over 35 years. Check us out at www.dallascorp.com.
VBN, Veterans Broadcast Network, brings you Wounded But Not Broken, hosted by Patrick Scroggin. It lies within you to conquer your greatest challenges. Patrick tackles the stories of how others faced unthinkable odds, and then at a pivotal moment, a change occurred within them that gave them the strength, attitude, and direction to excel beyond the greatest expectations. Listen every week and learn how it is possible to defeat the impossible.
Welcome back to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scroggin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're here with Zach Stinson, and he's been telling his story. And I just want to go over, he hadn't really went into detail about his injuries yet, but this is for him telling that story and be laying there for 45 minutes with as bad as he was injured and to still be here to tell this story is pretty damn amazing. And what's even more amazing is his attitude and what he's accomplished and what he's going to continue to accomplish, which we'll get into later. But Zach, you want to pick up where you left off there, my man?
Yeah, sure. So laying there and just trying to get some answers, and no one would give them to me, so I knew it was bad. They put me on the medevac. I'm talking to the guy that's back there with me. He's not really answering me, and obviously because he's doing a different job completely. We land at, I believe it was Bagram, and they put me on it was a stretcher or whatever, the bed basically, to wheel me into the OR, and cover me up with a mask. And next thing I know, I wake up in Bethesda, Maryland 6 days later. So in that time, I spent, I don't know how many days at Bagram. Then they flew me to Bastion, another medical facility in Afghanistan. And then from there, I went to Germany. I spent a few days there. And then from Germany, flew home. And then they took me out of a coma, and then that's kind of where I slowly started coming back. It took a while, just because of the meds and everything else that was kind of just happening. Just coming out of the haze took a while. Heck, I mean, at times it feels like I'm still recovering and getting better day by day. So, but yeah, the final tally or the total by the time everything was done is I ended up with two double above the knee amputations. My left leg is probably a few inches above the knee. My right leg, I only have about like 7 inches of femur. And I just got lucky with that because they were actually going to try to take more of that later on. But I just got really fortunate. Amputations to my fingers. I have half a thumb on my left hand, and my ring finger also is amputated at the first joint. My right hand, I'm missing. I don't have my thumb. And then my middle finger for my right hand is cut at the second joint. And then there's just like some other like slight joint issues with my right hand. It got hit pretty hard. Internally, I had smashed pelvis, so they had to completely reconstruct that. I woke up with a colostomy bag. I don't know necessarily like if there was a lot of damage to my intestines or anything like that. I do have a screw in my tailbone. My right eardrum blew off, and I think that's it. But yeah, it's just a little bit here and there. But no, yeah, and that's kind of whenever the whole process starts at the hospital, man. I spent 2 years of my life at the hospital, 1 year total, just between going back for surgeries and stuff like that. I spent a year as an inpatient and a year as an outpatient. I got injured November 9th, 2010, and I didn't get released from inpatient until March, I think it was 25th of 2011. And the only reason I know that is because my daughter was born on March 24th. And whenever
you
was born,
have a story about that, right? Don't you have a funny story about when your daughter was born?
Well, we got really lucky with that, man. Like I had never gone like on any trips or anything. Like we didn't have a van. Like we had a Jeep that we didn't even drive around DC. So I was in a power chair. Thing weighs like 350 pounds, I think. And so we had our birthing plan was kind of screwed up because we were at the old Walter Reed in DC, and my daughter was coming, and we were going to have her in Bethesda at a completely different hospital. So we ended up, actually my wife made friends with this one lady, like that day, who had a van because her son was also in a power chair, but she actually had a van to travel. So she said, hey, if you ever want to go out or do whatever, like just give me a call and you can use the van. Well, yeah, so I had a bad day at the hospital, and so I just left. I was freaking ticked. We were staying in a hotel room basically at the Malone House, and I went there, and then my wife's water broke, and we were like, we need to freaking get over there. So it all worked out, but it's pretty lucky that everything just lined up the way it was supposed to.
Yeah. I thought, that's awesome that you were able to be there. So how, once all this happened, I mean, it had to take a tremendous toll on your wife. I mean, what do you think she was going through, and how do you think, did it bring you all closer together? Because she now assumes responsibility for you, right? I mean, she's got to take care of you.
Oh yeah. No, I've been extremely fortunate, honestly, to have such an amazing woman by my side. I mean, because we got married. She was a senior when we were engaged. We got married right out of high school. Same thing. We weren't even married a year whenever I got injured. we spent our 1-year anniversary actually in the hospital. And then, but I was super paranoid when I was at the hospital. And it was so her and my mom would take turns, like alternate staying in my hospital room because I thought I was going to like die in my sleep basically. And I was so paranoid about it. So my wife is 4 months pregnant at the time, and she's sleeping in a chair in the corner of my room. And they didn't have any extra beds at the hospital anyway because everything was so busy. But yeah, she's just a freaking trooper. And then it's been that way like throughout. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better partner, man. Just between that and then
you couldn't. I mean, I've met your family. You have a wonderful family. Your wife's awesome, and yeah, you're a lucky man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Now she's running. She is my manager, and then basically a super mom as well, with being at the kids' school at least 3 days a week. But yeah, so we kind of just had to learn on what the new normal was, though. For all that, I tell people all the time is there's no how-to guide to getting blown up. So we were learning everything very slowly and just kind of dealing with what the new normal was. Like when I got injured, we had a house that we had already bought in North Carolina. We had our vehicles that I can't even drive now because I don't have legs. And our house wasn't handicap accessible. So it was just going through and figuring out how we're going to make this new normal work. And we did.
Yeah.
And you learn that between just falling on your face yourself, and then between that and having other people that you can rely on and get details, and they can kind of help you through stuff as well. And we did that as well. So, yeah, it was just a process.
Right. And so let's go back a little bit to that process. So when you woke up in the hospital and you started your recovery process, I'm sure getting blown up like that, there was some sort of TBI involved and all that stuff. But what did your recovery process look like? Walk me through what your attitude was once you woke up and you became coherent and found out how bad you were hurt and what you needed to tackle and overcome.
Well, so initially, like I'm still in the ICU. I was in the ICU for 2 weeks. And I don't exactly remember exactly what day. I want to say it was like a week and a half after my injury. I'm still, like, people are telling me I'm a double amputee every day because the meds and everything, nothing is sticking. So they would tell me, like, this is what happened. I'd go to sleep, I'd wake up, and then I'd have no idea why I was in a hospital room again, and then they would have to tell me everything all over again. So we did that for a few days, and eventually I kind of stuck, and I realized, like, okay, I'm an amputee, missing fingers, like, we're going to be in a wheelchair, this is going to be my new life, stuff like that. And I started getting really angry, and I just had, like, this moment where I was just thinking, and I realized, like, I can be completely bitter about it, or I can just be happy. Like, it doesn't matter. The world's going to keep spinning. It doesn't care about my attitude. I said, so if I want to at least not be completely miserable, I can have a positive attitude about everything, look at the silver lining, and then I might have a better existence in general. And then more people are even going to want to be around me versus being just this freaking grumpy man. So that's kind of where, and I still have, and I have since then. Obviously, everybody has bad days and stuff, but I try to keep a more positive outlook on everything. And in the grand scheme of things, I really can't complain at all. That was another good thing about being at the hospital. Like, I remember I was having a really, really bad day, and I was in therapy, and I was really ticked about my thumb because I really wanted a thumb. I don't know what was going through my head that day, except that I just wanted a thumb. So, yeah, I'm getting all upset about that. And then I'm in therapy, and then John Peck comes in on his wheelchair, and he jumps onto the mat next to me. And John is or was a quad amputee. He's since, from what I understand, gotten arm transplant. But so there's this guy with no arms and no legs jumping around on doing his exercises on the mat next to me, and I'm like, well, I can't freaking complain about a thumb at this point. So it really put me in kind of like my place, really put some perspective on it, and like, there's always going to be somebody that's got something worse.
Right.
So,
and Zach, hold that thought for one moment, and everybody stay tuned. We're going to take another word from our sponsors, and we're going to continue this very inspiring story when we return.
So put your weapon next to mine. Put your weapon next to mine.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scroggin. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey, right on down the line. Come on over. Come on over.
Attention, looking for semi-drivers nationwide. GTS Transportation of Burr Ridge, Illinois is looking to hire or partner with experienced CDL holders in every state. If you are going to drive, why not drive for the best? Whether you are driving solo, as a team, or as an owner-operator, GTS is looking to add you to their rapidly growing company. Become part of one of the most respected, driver-friendly, and successful transportation companies in America, where drivers are treated as royalty. Contact us at gtscarrier.com. Again, gtscarrier.com. Or call us at 847-754-4667. That number again, 847-754-4667. We would love to help you, which in turn helps everyone. GTS is an equal opportunity employer.
Dallas Corporation and Dallas Logistics, a proud supporter of the Veterans Radio broadcast for over 15 years. High-quality printing services and warehouse distribution have been our hallmark since 1985, serving Fortune 100 companies for over 35 years. Check us out at www.dallascorp.com.
VBN, Veterans Broadcast Network, brings you Wounded But Not Broken, hosted by Patrick Scroggin. It lies within you to conquer your greatest challenges. Patrick tackles the stories of how others faced unthinkable odds, and then at a pivotal moment, a change occurred within them that gave them the strength, attitude, and direction to excel beyond the greatest expectations. Listen every week and learn how it is possible to defeat the impossible.
Welcome back to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scroggin.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We're here with Zach, and he's going through his story. And Zach, I believe you left off with you're pissed off because you didn't have a thumb.
Yeah, well, that was, like I was saying, is just putting in perspective and realizing that there's always somebody out there with a lot rougher situation. And I always tend to remember that now before getting all freaking jacked up for no apparent reason. And that's just kind of my thing now, honestly. I just try to have a better attitude about everything. And I think because of it, that's why I get some of the opportunities that I get. Like, I'm pretty open about everything that's happened to me. If you have a question about something, I'll tell you the truth about it, because I mean, I don't really expect somebody else to know what it's like to be blown up or to go through the recovery process. And then also the attitude about it. People have a tendency to say that I'm like inspiring, stuff like that. I don't necessarily claim to be that, but I'm just me, and I'm just trying to go better, like be better today than I was yesterday, kind of thing. And that's kind of how I attack everything. And that's what's
right. But the inspiring thing comes from, I mean, this is your normal. You don't have a choice, but your attitude and the way you've tackled everything it's very inspiring. I mean, when you look at some people nowadays, they break their arm and life's over, and that's it's nothing against them. It's just that's the biggest reason why I wanted to do this podcast is these stories of, my brothers and sisters in arms are so inspiring because of the things that we've all overcame in our lives, much more than most people could ever fathom. And so you inspire me. I mean, we're going to get into why in a little while, but yeah, man, I mean, it's don't count yourself short. I know you're a humble guy and all that stuff, but I just had to say that. So let me know how you got the nickname. Let me know how you got the nickname Nubs.
I don't even know, man. I just know that there's a guy named Tyler that was at the hospital, and our families got along. His wife and my wife were friends, and we could all just kind of get along or something. And we went to do like this event, like, because they do all these events at the hospital to get you out and kind of keep you moving, different forms of therapy. And yeah, I don't know exactly why he called me that, but yeah, he called me McNubbins, and I just took the Nubs portion out of it. But I still, like I said, I don't know where it all came from. But yeah, it's kind of freaking crazy. And yeah. I use it as my my Instagram handle, just to, it lightens the mood kind of thing. Like, I don't want anybody getting on it and like taking me too seriously, man. I have fun with what I've been dealt, and I look at the bright side about things. Like, one of my biggest selling points is I don't have to run anymore. Don't have to do legs at the gym. Like, there's a lot of perks to all this.
Yeah, I mean, you got to learn how to have fun with it, man. You got to learn how to have fun with your injuries and everything that you've been through, because if not, it just all gets bottled up, and inevitably you just become bitter. But
exactly.
So what do you think you attribute your best, like your biggest success so far? I mean, what really motivated you?
Well, there's different portions of my life, and I've pretty much I feel like that's how everybody is. Like, I don't know if I'll ever be as happy as I was being a squad leader in Afghanistan. Like, that was the peak of leadership for me, because I felt like if you got a little bit higher, you're obviously worried about more. Like, if you go into a platoon sergeant kind of thing, you're worried about the whole platoon as a whole, and that's a lot of people and things like that. But the small unit leadership, I really enjoyed being a squad leader. I really enjoyed working with my guys and being and hitting the ground with them every single day. So, like, that would be a huge accomplishment that I still look back on. But, I mean, now, as an athlete, I have my accomplishments there that I'm very happy about. But I'd say that the biggest thing that I'd want to be is a good father and a good husband. Because at the end of the day, that's the tricky part. I tell everybody, man, especially with kids, parenting is that it's the only thing you don't know if you succeeded until the end. And that's what can be somewhat frustrating about it, is you can think that you're doing all the right things, and at the end you're still not getting a good product. But yeah, I just want my kids to know that I love them, and to just grow up to be great human beings and great people. And same thing, and give my wife the same respect and treat her with everything that she's given me through these years. So that, I would say, that's kind of like what I'd like to say is my greatest accomplishment, is just being a good husband and a good father.
Yeah. What when you were going through your recovery process, what was your biggest healing aspect? What got you through it? What did you turn to? Like for me, it's hunting and helping veterans and speaking. I love doing that kind of thing. I love being interactive with my brothers and sisters and trying to inspire them to get better. And for you, what was your niche?
Well, so I really fell into athletics and hunting. Those were I would say, the two biggest things I kind of got out of it. Obviously, I've stuck with both. doing more of the athlete thing now as a career. And then obviously just hunting whenever you can't be an athlete anymore for the year. So yeah, I started cycling and weightlifting whenever I was at the hospital. When I got blown up, I was probably around 175. When I got blown up, I went down to 110. And then, so the doctors, as soon as I could eat things, they were like, just eat whatever. We don't care what you put in, just eat. So, but no one ever told me to stop eating. So it got to a point of where I looked into the mirror one day and I was like, gee whiz, I'm freaking fat. And, and then you can't lose weight like you used to because walking is off the table. And so, at least at that point in time, because I wasn't walking very much anyway because I was having so many complications with surgeries and such. So it was portion control and getting back in the gym and just trying to figure out how to work out because, again, like we've already discussed, like I can do it, but it's gonna be a little bit different now. Like, so that's kind of what I jumped into. I started lifting while I was still at the hospital, and then I got into there was a hand cycling program at the hospital on base, and so I started doing rides with those guys. I got linked up with Achilles, the Achilles Freedom Team, which they are it's all wounded vets on the team, and they do marathons. So I ended up getting signed up or signing up for the Marine Corps Marathon back in like 2012. It was my first real marathon. And I did pretty well. I think I was like 8th overall or something for not really having any training or anything with it. I was really happy. I think I finished like an hour 45. And so I did really well with that race. And then as soon as I finished, everybody on the team was kind of like, you should keep doing this. Like, you're really, really good, da-da-da-da. And actually that kind of scared me away from the cycling aspect because I really enjoyed cycling, but I didn't want to I felt like they were telling me that if I really started doing it more, and I was afraid that it was going to just turn into a job and I wouldn't care for it anymore. So I took like 4 years break off of it. I'd still cycle at my house. I just wasn't doing anything competitively. And then out of the blue one day, I called up the coordinator for Achilles, and I said I wanted to do another marathon, and it was Marine Corps Marathon in 2016. I did even better. I think I got like 6th that year. And then this time I was like, okay, well, I'm going to stick with it. And so I did Boston in 2017. I did the Detroit Marathon, Chicago Marathon. Honestly, I really have no idea what number I'm at on marathons. I would probably say, I guess I'm at like maybe 12 or 13. But yeah, I've done Boston. I think I've done Boston 3 or 4 times. Marine Corps probably more like 6. Detroit I've done twice, and then I think Chicago was only once. But yeah, it kind of snowballed after that because I really enjoyed cycling, and I would train for cycling events with another retired Marine officer around my house, and he was doing triathlons. And so he was telling me about doing all these triathlons, and I was like, you're freaking nuts, because he was doing Ironmans, and I was like, those distances are ridiculous. Well, I just got into my head that that's what I wanted to do for my 30th birthday. So I found a race. I still remember it was the day I think it was the day after Christmas. It would have been 2018 at that time. And I signed up for Ironman Lake Placid. It was close to my birthday. It was close to home. I think it was like a 6-hour drive or 8-hour drive north for me. But I was like, okay, we can make it happen. I had never swam. And for a wheelchair athlete in a triathlon, the running portion is also done in a racing wheelchair. Well, I didn't even have a racing wheelchair, but I was like, I'll figure all that stuff later down the road. I mean, I have the bike. That's the big thing. So I signed up, and then I immediately went to the pool and tried swimming a mile. And it took me like an hour to swim 1 mile. I was like, this isn't going to work. So we got to figure out a way to get faster. Because I think the cutoff for the swim was like 2 hours, 20 minutes or something. And I had never swam without legs. So I was starting from square one, and it was just kind of falling on my face and figuring out how to get a little bit faster here or there.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Zach, real quick, we're going to take one last commercial break here from word from our sponsors. Everybody stay tuned, and let's hear how Zach went through and accomplished this goal that he had.
So put your weapon next to mine. Put your weapon next to mine.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scroggin. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey, right on down the line. Come on over. Come on over. What's not over?
My father was the best truck driver I've ever known in my life. Like a family tradition.
I'm a truck driver myself. I drove around the state with my cat.
To be the truck driver, you not just only see where you go, you see the world in the larger perspective.
This is a really good time to be in the trucking industry. The dispatchers get good loads for them. The equipment is very new, and then it's very reliable.
At GTS Transportation, we make dreams come true by employing truck drivers, dispatchers, mechanics, and many other occupations. Consider joining our rapidly expanding team where we put quality, human dignity, and respect back into the workforce. Contact us by visiting our website at gtscarrier.com or call us at 847-754-4667. That number again, 847-754-4667.
Dallas Corporation and Dallas Logistics, a proud supporter of the Veterans Broadcast Network for over 19 years. High-quality printing services and warehouse distribution has been our hallmark since 1985, serving Fortune 100 companies for over 35 years. Check us out at www.dallascorp.com.
VBN, Veterans Broadcast Network, brings you Wounded But Not Broken, hosted by Patrick Scroggin. It lies within you to conquer your greatest challenges. Patrick tackles the stories of how others faced unthinkable odds, and then at a pivotal moment, a change occurred within them that gave them the strength, attitude, and direction to excel beyond the greatest expectations. Listen every week and learn how it is possible to defeat the impossible.
Welcome back to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scroggin.
Everybody, welcome back. I'm going to let Zach jump right back into this so we can fit all this in. But hey, Zach, real quick, can you explain like your bike, what kind of bike that is, and in detail of your equipment that you use?
Yeah. So, well, for the swim, it's just wetsuit or buoyancy shorts, depending on water temperature for the event. My bike is a recumbent hand cycle, meaning that I'm laying down with the gearing and the pedals just basically right in front of my face or very close to it. I have two wheels in the back and then just a singular wheel up front. And then for the push rim or the running portion, it's two 700cc discs in the rear with one 20-inch carbon fiber wheel up front. And then there's the discs have holes in it, and then a rim attaches, and it's a rubber rim. And then I make gloves out of thermoplast, just plastic, and glue rubber onto the face of the glove as well. And so that's how I end up pushing the wheelchair, is that rubber on rubber contact. Yeah, and so that was, I mean, and again, going back into it, that was what I had to learn all this stuff by myself, especially having, like, you can find some gloves online and stuff, but I've never had a lot of luck with them just because of, like, my finger amputations and stuff like that. I needed something more custom to me. I had to, and what I didn't know whenever I signed up for Lake Placid is that it's a very hilly course, and that usually doesn't translate well to hand cyclists. So I think during the race, I think I went over like a little over 7,000 feet of elevation climb. So for training here in Pennsylvania, I would literally go up and down mountains and then turn around and come right back on these 6-hour rides and try to just climb as many hills and mountains and everything as I could, just to get my body ready for this race. So it was a full Ironman, so the distances as a 2.4 mile swim, I think it was a 112 mile bike, and then a full marathon, 26.2 miles. So at the end of the day, it's 140.6 miles total for one day. And yeah, so I did this race, and I did it. I mean, I finished it. As far as I can tell, I think I'm the only hand cycle athlete to ever complete Lake Placid as of right now, which was pretty cool. And it kind of opened up some doors for triathlon for me. I really enjoyed it, and I like the fact that you have to be good at three things instead of being really good at just one thing. So it gave it more of a challenge for me. And, so I started doing some more digging because the Ironman stuff was interesting to me, but I really didn't like having to do such long distances all the time. So I went down to sprint races, which is what I'm doing now. And those consist of a 750 meter swim, a 20K or 12.4 miles on the bike, and then it's a 5K run or 3.1 miles. And so I've been doing that for the past 2 years. My first event actually just got shut down. It was right when COVID hit last March. And I mean, it just shut I was in Florida getting ready for the race and just had to basically drive all the way back up to Pennsylvania and just train. Most of the triathlons were completely canked kind of thing. So I just do my own races. I'd kind of just create courses around my hometown. I'd go swim, go bike, and then do a run so I could still get release my energy and then still work on building and training. But it worked real well, and then last year all the races came back, and we had a good year. We started in Florida. We went from Florida to Texas to Indiana, Wisconsin, California, and then finished up in Portugal. And so I think I did pretty good for the first half of the year, and then things really came together in July for the national championship. So I won nationals last year, and then going to Portugal, that was a World Cup race, and I won that, which was pretty exciting. My first international race, and just kind of taking steps to try to get to Paris in 2024. And it worked real well. So now we're kind of back in the training mode now that hunting season's over, and we're getting ready. We have another triathlon in March, and that should be the America's Championship. And, we're getting ready for that one and hopefully hit the ground running in 2022 and get more points and start moving up the leaderboard.
That's awesome, man. I tell you what, that's yeah. I think you say it. You say you're an athlete rather humbly. I mean, you're a world-class athlete. I mean, I'll make that clear. And I think it's awesome what you're doing. So I assume there's a lot of sponsorships and costs and all that stuff. Do you have anything set up so if anybody wanted to help where they could go in and just donate to your cause or just to help you out for travel or anything like that?
Yeah. So, a lot of it is comes up. We chase some sponsorships and stuff. I actually created like a blog website. I haven't been on it pretty much since after Portugal just because we've been really busy with hunting. But you can donate through that site, and that goes towards like all my racing fun stuff. But it's also a way to just kind of keep in touch with what's happening and what we're up to, kind of thing.
Right.
And we've gotten some pretty good feedback on it. I'm glad we did. It's a good outlet, and it kind of explains a little bit more about the sport. You get to see like the pictures of the stuff and the equipment that I'm using, and how it works for me, kind of thing. But yeah, every little bit is appreciated, and we're still chasing those sponsorships.
What's the website?
I guess that would help. ZachStinsonRacing.com.
ZachStinsonRacing.com. That's awesome. Hopefully we can. Hopefully some of the listeners will be inspired by what you do. I know that I am, and go on and help in any way possible. But man, I can't thank you enough coming on tonight and telling that story. I mean, I don't know how anybody could listen to that and not be inspired. You're a man that should hold your head high and never disregard the things that you've accomplished, because you are a hero and you are a world-class athlete.
Well, thanks, brother. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure. And I'll just say a quick closing. When you hear these stories and you hear guys and soldiers that have went through what these soldiers have went through, and they say things like can't complain or lucky, fortunate, how can you not sit there and be inspired by the attitude that these gentlemen have? If we could instill this attitude in our youth nowadays, we would have a lot less problems in this country. This country wouldn't be so divided. People won't understand, and really, honestly, they can't understand what people go through that have been hurt this bad. But what you can do is you can learn from these stories. You can learn from the attitude. You can learn from the way they accomplish their goals and how they motivate themselves or how others motivate them. And that's what I hope everybody can take away from this story, because this is truly a special story with truly a special man. And I just want to thank everybody for listening, all the support that we're getting for Wounded But Not Broken. We love doing this show. I love getting these stories out to you all. And just stay tuned next week. We're going to have another one for you. Thanks for tuning in.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scroggins.
Attention, looking for semi-drivers nationwide. GTS Transportation of Burr Ridge, Illinois is looking to hire or partner with experienced CDL holders in every state. If you are going to drive, why not drive for the best? Whether you are driving solo, as a team, or as an owner-operator, GTS is looking to add you to their rapidly growing company. Become part of one of the most respected, driver-friendly, and successful transportation companies in America, where drivers are treated as royalty. Contact us at gtscarrier.com. Again, gtscarrier.com. Or call us at 847-754-4667. That number again, 847-754-4667. We would love to help you, which in turn helps everyone. GTS is an equal opportunity employer.
Dallas Corporation and Dallas Logistics, a proud supporter of the Veterans Radio broadcast for over 15 years. High-quality printing services and warehouse distribution have been our hallmark since 1985, serving Fortune 100 companies for over 35 years. Check us out at www.dallascorp.com.
VBN, Veterans Broadcast Network, brings you Wounded But Not Broken, hosted by Patrick Scroggins. It lies within you to conquer your greatest challenges. Patrick tackles the stories of how others faced unthinkable odds, and then at a pivotal moment, a change occurred within them that gave them the strength, attitude, and direction to excel beyond the greatest expectations. Listen every week and learn how it is possible to defeat the impossible.